We are going to determine from a graph of a line, if we're given a graph with a line, what the slope of that line is. What we've already said is that slope measures the steepness of a line. Slope measures steepness of a line. Slope measures how steep a line is. So if you imagine yourself riding your bike, and we're going to go from left to right because that's how we read and that's just what makes most sense. If you're riding your bike from the left side of the page to the right side of the page, would it be easier to ride this hill or this hill? Which line is more steep? The first one is steeper than this. What if you were riding from left to right and you had a hill like this?
That's gonna be hard.
That's going downhill, right? So first we're going to identify the different types of slope. So if you have a line that looks like this, this is called positive slope. If you were to ride your bike from left to right, you would be going uphill. You would be going up the hill. As the line goes from left to right, it moves up. Positive slope. Then if we look at this line, the next line on our graph, if you go from left to right on your bike, you'd be going downhill, correct? From left to right, this line moves down. This is negative slope. What if you were to ride your bike on that line?
Neutral.
Neutral. What number is neutral? It's not positive and it's not negative. What number is that? 0. This line has a slope of 0. That line has a slope of 0. You're not going up, you're not going down, you're just cruising. What about this line? You wouldn't even be able to ride your bike on that line. I can't, at least. No what ifs. Just straight up and down. This slope we call undefined. Undefined.
So Ms. Horshaw's giving you these clues of riding your bike, right? So you can think of it. We read left to right, so we talk about our lines left to right. That positive slope would require a lot of work to go up that hill. So it's positive, it means a lot. The negative slope from left to right would require negative work, right? You don't even have to do anything, right? That 0 slope, it's no fun, right? It's just kind of here nor there. But that undefined slope, that vertical line, there is no way you'd be able to attempt it. So it's impossible.
So the lines that go up from left to right is positive. Lines that go down from left to right, negative. A horizontal line has a slope of 0, and a vertical line has a slope that is undefined. So here are our steps for counting slope on a graph. First step, you're going to start at the bottom dot. Start at bottom dot. Then you're going to count up until even with the top dot. Count up until even with the top dot. Once you even with the top dot, you count it straight up. You're going to turn the corner, because as we count slope, we're going to be drawing on our graph paper to help us count, to help us see it. You'll count up, straight up, and then you'll turn the corner, because the shape that we're going to be drawing is a right triangle.
What's the first step? Start at the bottom dot. You find the bottom dot. Look, here it is, right? That's where you start. Then what do you do after you find the bottom dot?
Count up until even with the top dot.
You count up until you're even with the top dot. In with the top dot. What happens when you're even with the top dot? What do you do after that?
Turn the corner.
Turn the corner. You turn the corner. What shape are you making?
Right triangle.
A right triangle. Today you will be counting. Counting, and then counting, and then counting.
Which one is that on the left?
It is an easily messed up day.
Really?
Yes.
So if we mess up,
So you start at the bottom dot. First you locate that bottom dot and you count up, and you'll draw your line as you count up how many space get to that top dot. And then you'll turn the corner. After you turn the corner, you'll count over. Count over to the top dot. So you already counted up and you're even with that top dot, and then you just have to go either left or right. If you go right to get to your top dot, it's a positive slope. If you go left, it's negative.
So again, remember, you started at the bottom dot and you counted up until you're even with the top dot. And you turn the corner, we're making a triangle. And now that we turned the corner, we're going to count over to the top dot. And she said if it's to the right, it's positive. Which way is to the right? Hold up your right hand. If it's to the right, it's positive. If it's to the left, it's negative. Forward and backward.
And so here, if you look, we've counted two things. So we'll have two numbers, and we're going to put those two numbers into a fraction, and our last step is going to be simplify the fraction. And here is what our fraction is. Our fraction is going to be slope equals rise over run. Slope equals rise over run. Which part do we think is our rise? Which number that we counted do we think is our rise? The number that we counted from number 2, step 2. When we counted up, when you go up, you rise. So from step 2, we can say that this number that we counted is our rise.
Add that to your step number 2. Add that word. Step number 2, counting up is the rise.
And then it's 3. Run.
And then when we count over, it's the run, because you run over. So the number that you get from counting up is your rise. That'll go in the numerator of our fraction. And then the number that you get from counting over is your run. That'll go in the denominator. If you have to count to the right, that number is going to be positive. If you count to the left, that number is negative. Slope will equal rise over run. Let's try this out. First step, start at the bottom dot. So find that bottom dot right here. What's our second step?
Go up until you're equal with the second dot.
Count up. This one is nice and simple. You only have to go up 1. So let's make our fraction. Which part was this 1?
1.
The numerator or the denominator? The numerator, the rise. We went up 1. That's our rise, so it's going the top part of our fraction, the numerator. And then we run. We turn the corner, and we go straight over. 1, 2. And so our numerator is 2. But what direction did we go when we counted over?
To the left, so it's negative.
To the left, so it's negative. Is this fraction simplified already? Yeah, negative 1/2. It's good.
Ladies and gentlemen, do you have a yellow calculator out?
Yes.
Everybody in your calculator, type the fraction 1 over negative 2. In your calculator,
And then what?
type the fraction 1 over negative 2. 1 over negative 2. Type that fraction 1 over negative 2. Ms. Moore, should I tap the iPad screen? And then press enter. And what happens? Does it change?
Yeah. Yeah. No.
I mean, kind of, but do the numbers change?
No.
So is 1 over negative 2 the same thing as negative 1/2?
Yes.
It does not matter where your negative goes, as long as it's in there somewhere. But your fraction must be simplified. And the best way to simplify your fraction is just to use this n over d button on your calculator. Type in what you get for rise, then type in what you get for run, hit enter, and it'll give you a fraction. Your answer will always be a fraction or a whole number. No decimals, no mixed numbers. It'll always be a fraction or a mixed number. So the slope for this line, do you see how we drew a right triangle even though it's really small? And we got the slope for that line is -1/2. Let's try the next one. Find that bottom dot. And then we count up until we're even with that top dot. I counted up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that 5 goes in the numerator. And then you count over 1. And we counted to the right so it stays positive. And then we type it into our calculator, that n over d button. 5 over 1 and hit enter. Can this fraction be simplified?
Yeah.
5 over 1 equals 5. Okay, next one. Locate that bottom dot. And we'll count up. So our rise is 3 because we counted up 1, 2, 3 to get to the top dot, and we turn the corner. We have to make a right triangle, turn the corner, and count over. 1, 2, 3, 4. We went over 4, but what direction did we go?
The left.
We went to the left, so it's negative. Now check it in your calculator. See if this can be simplified. This n over d button, numerator over denominator. 3 over -4.
I guess can you hold it closer to the screen? I get it. You gotta just play with it until it all of a sudden makes.
Okay.
Well, it's just dark up there because the sun is shining today.
I don't like the calculator numbers.
Or while we get this fixed, you try the next one. Remember, the steps are start at the bottom dot. Start at the bottom dot. And count straight up. Shockingly, sometimes the hardest part is drawing this triangle. Because your right triangle looks a little lumpy. Start at the bottom dot, count up, and turn the corner. You're making a right triangle. And then you count over to the top dot. And then your fraction is rise over run. How many you went up over how many you went over. If you went to the left, it's negative, and if you go to the right, rise over run. Rise up.
Start at your bottom dot, count up 1, 2, 3, 4. That's our rise that goes in our numerator. Over run. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we try to simplify that into our calculator. N over D. 4 over 4. Hit enter, and we see that it simplifies to 1. So the slope is positive 1. So again, the steps are to start at the bottom dot, count up until even with your top dot. That number is going to be your rise. It's going to go into your numerator because slope is rise over run. You'll turn the corner to make our right triangle. You have to be drawing these right triangles. Count over to the top dot, and that's your run. If you go to the right, it's positive. If you go to the left, it's negative. Then you simplify your fraction using your calculator.